But President Kennedy talked about strengthening the United Nations. But my question to you really is, do you think the United Nations is irredeemably captured by the oligarchs of the great powers, and also the undemocratic nature of the Security Council and the use of the veto? Can the UN be actually reformed, or have you got to tear it to pieces and start again?
That's an excellent question. And I think the immediate and direct answer is yes, but you got to get rid of the United States first. The UN is a creature of Washington. No matter what we say, no matter who's the Secretary General, it's a creature of Washington. To a lesser extent, it's a creature of the other Perm 5 members, Perm 4, if you will. But more than anybody, it's a creature of Washington. I watched it. I couldn't believe some of the things I saw. When Helen Clark had all the promise in the world to be a first at the UN, she was going to be a Secretary General who would pop the whip. She'd already cleaned up her part of the United Nations. She'd fired incompetent people. She'd fired people who were corrupt. She put good people in place. She demonstrated she was a first-class leader and a first-class manager. What did we do when she was nominated to be Secretary General? We said, oh, no, we can't have her in there. I was there because she might act against us from time to time. And so she didn't make it. We got our guy in there. At times, he will speak in ways that are contravening of what we want to do, or he'll accuse us of this or that, particularly over Gaza, and I applaud him for that. But basically, he's our guy. So you got to get rid of the United States. Now, that's impossible. So what you do is you revise the UN Security Council. You revamp it completely. You take the 15, let's say, and you say, okay, we'll keep up the same election process. We'll keep the permanent 5, 6, 7. You ought to throw some more people in there because there are other countries that ought to be a part of it. India comes to mind immediately. Maybe Sri Lanka wouldn't like that, but India comes to mind immediately. Brazil comes to mind. So maybe you have a permanent 8 or a permanent 9, and it takes 3 vetoes to kill an action. I'd buy that. And the 15 grows to 20. Or let's revise and revamp the UN and make it possibly more effective and less subject to the idiosyncrasies and influence of Washington. That's the first thing I would do. I don't think the UN is passé. I think we'd have a hard time without it, but we'd have a lot better time with it if it were revamped and revised along the lines I've just described.
Okay. Thank you.